Mortal Kombat nailed at popularizing their ninjas, and Tekken has not. Why is that? Ninjas in fighting games are cool, and there is not much to say about that really. Awesome moves and specials, unorthodox playstyles, and absolute swagger in the way they execute their foes.
I mean, like a snake.
Everyone that has even slightly played MK has at least one favorite ninja, whether it is Scorpion, Noob, Katana, Melina, Reptile, Rain, or Sub-Zero.
Lin Kuei are not ninjas.
Shut up. All of them have something cool and unique that draws the audience. My all-time favorite being Cyrax because of how he usually has awesome combos to offer, and Sub-Zero because I just think he's cool. Pun intended. And Smoke, especially during MK9 era. That hair though. While a very short list in Tekken, I actually do like all of them. Raven being my top favorite because the first time I saw his grab in Tekken 5, I knew he was my all-time favorite from that moment. Yoshi being my childhood favorite, but I do not play him at all because I find him too weird of a playstyle. And Kunimitsu 1, especially because I think her gameplay is a bit more interesting, being my actual second favorite. Although it might seem like an unfair comparison due to the immense amount of ninjas MK has, like, damn, what the fuck, Ed? I feel like Tekken still has a lot of tools to be able to compete, even with technically only 5 Master Raven and Kunimitsu 2 ninjas included in the franchise. Yoshi being undeniably the most popular, probably more popular than half the MK ones, in my opinion, being a good indication of how well he was created to the point he never misses a Tekken game. While other characters that started with him, like Kuni, were still left behind a few times in future games. So let us go over each category and see what is lacking from these ninjas in their respective franchises. Story significance and gameplay. Going over Tekken characters first. Yoshimitsu. A potential alien, I think it is confirmed that he's an alien, I'm not sure. Leader of the Majin clan, ninjas, and has a cool but possessed sword that he must keep in check. At least now in Tekken 8. Okay, now that sounds like a character that most people would be very interested in. Plus a bonus, he has probably the coolest character design changes in every game. Every time there's a new Tekken game, the first thing people think of is, what are they gonna do with Yoshi's design in the game? And unsurprisingly, they do not disappoint. Even if some might not be your favorites, you can still see how much effort the developers put into these designs. Yoshi is a certified banger character. Gameplay? We all know Yoshi gameplay. Weird, unorthodox, random, and unique are few words to describe it.
Witness the results of my training.
Raven. Really cool name already. Works for the UN, which is a government type unit run by Victor, I guess, and has mastered ninjutsu. He is cold and cool-headed, as expected from an assassin, and has some pretty cool design choices. And many have mentioned that he is Blade inspired, which only adds to his coolness. But what else? I mean, he essentially has the same costume in every game, with only one undeniably being the best costume. Probably one of the best in the series, not gonna lie. Top 5 at least. But that's about it. We just know that he trained some more and appears in the story, helping Lars and gathering info for the UN. He has some type of rivalry towards Yoshi and Dragunov, but not much is really known as to why. I mean, sure, they are villains except for Yoshi, but, you know, I would like more. He just seems like a jobber for Victor or the UN. Gameplay wise, he really is fun, and although different from a lot of the cast, still unique and cool enough to be his own. Raven suffers from the, as I like to call it, the MAS, Mishima Abandonment Syndrome. Like a lot of characters, where he really does not get much focus regardless of potential, because he is not closely related to them. Kunimi 1, to be specific, is a female ninja who is apparently blind and is a petty thief, who eventually learned her ninjutsu skills in a Mazin clan, led by Yoshi. Ultimately, she ended up being kicked from the clan because she stole from them. Kuni, little rat. Anyway, so she ended up going to live with her grandfather, who was heavily simping for Yoshi's sword. Pause. So, to help with that, she entered the tournament to fight Yoshi and lost. Damn, 2 L's. And then she retired. That's it. She tried twice and gave up her thieving. She was in 3 games. One of them, non-canon, Tag 2, and was immediately replaced by her daughter, Kunimita 2 in Tekken 7. She just married some random shinobi and had a daughter replace her. Wow. Cool design, fun gameplay, some amazing potential wasted and replaced. Do not get me wrong, I like Kuni too, but her designs actually even through the broken movement she has. But I would have liked her to be something for later and a bit more original, you know? Sometimes I wonder how we can have characters like Asuka be in every game after they release, when June, being a more interesting character, lore and gameplay wise, is right there, and only finally being in Tekken again in 8th. When I find Kuni's gameplay and lore more interesting than even Lily's. Sorry Lily mains, but maybe that is not a Lily or Asuka problem, and I am being completely unfair, but rather a problem with how certain characters are treated in Tekken in general. Mortal Kombat characters. For the sake of my sanity and yours, I will be going over 4 Mortal Kombat characters because, again, my man Ed really wanted that bag from ninjas in his game. Scorpion. Most popular ninja in MK by a long shot, and for good reason. He is cool looking for most MK games and has interesting lore, and people love a tragic character with a revenge story. His rivalry is as old as time, Fire and Ice, who wins. Gameplay, he has probably the most iconic move in not just fighting games, but games in general. The spear is just impossible to not trigger some type of childhood memory. Don't want to dive too deep into gameplay because he does change game to game because this is MK, not Tekken. But he tends to lean more into rushdown or 50-50 archetype and tends to normally be the easiest character to pick up because he is the poster child. And people who want to play the cool character in the front box don't want to work too hard at it. Frost. I'm joking. Melina. I am going to talk about her instead of Katana because she is generally, in my opinion, more interesting and has a very loud fan base, as we saw from MK11. She has a very cool and interesting lore, as she is a twisted clone of Katana made in a flesh pit by none other than Shang Tsung, meant to replace her and become Shao Kahn's heir, I guess, to the throne. She's cruel and ruthless, and that pretty much translates to her gameplay for most games. MK11, she was very lackluster though in gameplay, but still had the ruthlessness aspect of her character in certain moves, an iconic Sai user with a very scary mouth. She is not my favorite female ninja, as that spot is there for my beloved Tanya. If she is even considered one or not, I think she is. But Melina is a fan favorite, and I can definitely see why that is the case. Sub-Zero. I mean, if I talked about Scorpion, how could I not talk about Sub? He is pretty much the other side of the coin when thinking of MK ninjas, Fire and Ice, remember? Super cool character, or characters, I guess, due to the name being a mantle and has cool and awesome attacks, which is why I like him more than Scorpion. Sub is for people who didn't want to pick Scorpion as their favorite because they did not want to seem basic, but still ended up being basic. Cool lore, awesome how he's connected to Noob Saibot and Cyber Sub, and many other characters that have to do with his well-established clan, the Lin Kuei. Cyrax, Sector, Smoke, and Frost. It is so cool that in the old games he was seen as so powerful he became an unofficial god. But the Elder Gods hated too much on his drip that they made him their enemy. Talk about haters. Gameplay-wise, he tends to be only a slight bit harder to play than Scorpion, but still basic and 50-50 oriented in a lot of games. As you can see, MK characters tend to have at least some sort of depth to them and can be influential in the stories of their respective games. While in Tekken, some characters don't develop at all. I mean, look at Brian. He's been a revived soldier that gone insane, I guess, and that's it for the next few years, says Tekken 4. Really nothing has, changed. And are left with endings that are not even canon sometimes and do not even count towards their character development, At least in MK, you could just have a favorite ninja and be like, yeah, I like when my boy Scorpion became the chosen fighter for the Elder Gods instead of Liu Kang. Or when Sub was so skilled as a fighter, he became a god. Even if the endings were not like canon, at least they sometimes would do their best to try and give people who love these characters something to like, I was so excited to hear that Nina finally gets some type of ending in Tekken 8. And instead, all it is her fighting Lee over some petty stuff. I mean, I would much rather have her go on a revenge arc, maybe because she got experimented on without her consent. Maybe even work temporarily with Steve in order to act on some type of plan and see how she might show some type of emotion when working with her quote-unquote son. And I know that there is a lot more leniency with the whole fantasy aspect of MK, but even Tekken put characters like Paul in a good state in Tekken 4, and most people like that version of Paul, rather than this strongest in a universe that started in Tekken 5, and, fight me aliens and shit, like, what the fuck. That is not to say that it does not have its fair share of forgettable characters, obviously. MK definitely does have that, but they feel less impactful when they miss a game or two compared to Tekken characters who genuinely have so much effort put into them, like Julia, like Bruce, like Huni. I mean, who in their right mind is crying over Cobra or Tu Hao in MK, missing a game? If you are, you really need to evaluate your life. Tekken has admittedly more effort put into the unique aspect of their characters' gameplay. For example, you get to keep most of the moves from previous games beyond just having one or two special moves from previous games, the way MK does. Scorpion will always have teleport, will always have spear, will always have whatever other move that's iconic to him. Conclusion: this is not an issue I can apply to just the ninjas, but almost the whole cast except the Mishimas. And I hope the Tekken team in Harada can get some of that great writing from Tekken 4 back for the character ending, because that's when it felt like something was at stake. It felt serious, It doesn't even have to be super serious, just has to have some type of something to grasp. Because at the end of the day, the reason people want to play these characters can't just be because they play cool. They must have some type of personality in order for people to relate or appreciate about their character. I mean, I like Raven, but I'd be lying if I said Master Raven isn't a bit more of a character due to her apparently having African origins. Obviously Raven is black and also has it. But I mean, in the wiki, that is from the wiki, so I do not know exactly the source of that. But it is cool. It is quite cool, to see that, to know something that could be true for such a cool character, in my opinion. Like, oh, Master Raven is apparently like, I think, what is it? Is it Kenyan or something? That's cool. Like, she's directly Kenyan. you know, Master Raven, I mean, Raven himself could just be, you know, African American, you know, and that's all we know about him. But that's just something that's like really cool. There are more factors to be brought up on why they are so unpopular compared to other franchises. And as I discussed with RaveCave, a fellow Raven enjoyer, as to why ninjas in Tekken maybe aren't as popular compared to other games, she had to say on Twitter, and I quote, "Ninjas, I think, are not as popular because they are either difficult to play or not as vibrant in terms of character design and background story. Fighting games' most popular characters are usually females with a certain personality or a lot of sex appeal. And even in video games, sex sells, so a lot of times ninjas are overlooked unless they have revealing outfits like Kazumi from Dead or Alive. Her classic outfit shows a lot of skin, leading to a duality of sex appeal with cool ninja style that made her popular. Kimberly is a slight exception to the rule due to Street Fighter VI's modern controls, but with normal ninja characters, like, you are often left with difficult to play characters that will scare off people from liking them because of the skill needed to play them, which is often the main reason why ninjas are often looked over, at least from what I've seen in Tekken, Street Fighter, and some of Dead or Alive." And that is pretty much what she said. And I do agree with most that was said. Difficulty is not exactly a deterrent, I would say, but definitely the background, story, and development. Thanks for the input, and check her YouTube out for some of that fun Master Raven gameplay. Well, thanks for watching and letting me ramble about something no one cares, but I like this topic, so yeah. Leave a like and a sub if you didn't already, and have a good day. Jesus, I'm tired.